just in time for summer. The new 2024 refreshed ND3 Miata is here, and I'm gonna take you for a drive. So we're gonna go over some of the updates before we get in, drop the top, and take it for a spin in beautiful Southwest Florida. The lights, they're new. I'll go ahead and play the turn signals for you guys as well. But just a minor refresh to the headlights as well as the lower bumper here. This has, this is the top of the line Club with the BBS Recaro and Brembo brake package. So as we come to the side, you're gonna see the BBS wheels here, the beautiful Brembo brakes. And this is the best paint color, in my opinion, to get on the Miata, unless you get white and then you can wrap it. But the Soul Red Crystal Metallic, if I remember correctly, Mazda just doesn't have a lot of fun colors for their most fun vehicle, and arguably the most fun vehicle your dollar can get you here in 2024. As we come to the back, I don't think really anything has changed. That's perfectly fine for me. Still have the dual tip exhaust and the Skyactiv G, the 181 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. The engine has been unchanged since I think 2018 or so, but I can look at it all day. But more importantly, I want to get on the inside because we do have some more changes there I think that you guys would appreciate, to be honest. So on the inside, AC is nice and cool in the Miata. It doesn't have a lot of space to cool down, so it's very efficient in its AC. We have this 8.8-inch screen here. It's so much better looking and more aesthetically pleasing than the old one. But check this out. I still have to use a rotary dial to push up to Android Auto. And yes, I do have Android Auto tethered right here. And if you have the right cable length, it goes right around the shifter. I want to say this is like 2 feet or something. Anyways, this is touch. Check that out. And it is touch when you're driving as well. So I believe the old Miata, it was only touch when you were at a standstill. Now it's an actual touch screen instead of a frustrating one. Steering wheel is the same. All this back here looks to be the same to me as well, and that's perfectly fine. The gauge cluster, old school and functional. I think they also added this piece. It is more comforting to the center console, so when your knee is pressed up against it, it gives you a nice pad. Really appreciate that. There's still no place for the cups, so your cup holder is either here or back there. You also have this fold down and lockable storage where you can put your manual, things like that. This is mainly for a stick of gum. Your phone's not going to fit in there. I don't even know a deck of cards. You still have a little coin slot there, old school. Volume knob right here. It's just a little awkward for me to go to, but we do have that nice Bose sound system in here with the speakers inside the headrest. Got the beautiful Recaro seats, and if you can fit in here, it's great. I even have a decent amount of headroom. On the Club model and up, I believe we have a new limited slip differential out the back, so I'm not going to be throwing this around a track for me to find that out if it feels any different. When this got kinematic posture control a few years ago, that really changed the vehicle. We also have some suspension updates, steering updates, I think, for this model year. Just real minor stuff. Kaizen mentality, that refinement, that endless pursuit of perfection is what Lexus calls it. Mazda has very much that same philosophy, especially here with the MX-5. Just small tweaks over the years, and it's the first time maybe since 2018 we've had a noticeable changes here on the ND Miata, now being the third iteration of it, the second refresh. All right, so let's start driving. First, this is how easy it is. 1, 2, pull this up. Well, yeah, sometimes that catches, but then you pull that up and just smash it down. So you can even do that when you're at a stop. It's super fast, and that's why I'd be picking this over, let's say, the RF version. RF is not only more expensive, but it limits your visibility quite a bit. There, I think that angle will work for you guys. And we're gonna start driving my favorite car. I think this is my favorite car of all time. Every time I sit in here, it feels like I'm sitting in an old friend, an old glove. Oh, like when the shifter, and you're just idling, the shifter wags back and forth like a puppy dog. I always forget that, and then I get in here and it's happy to greet me with that wagging shifter. Now, let's go ahead and roll the windows down all the way. And that's the beautiful thing about the Miata. Super smooth 4-cylinder. Just whip a U-turn here. Put it into first, no one's coming. You can ring this thing out and I'm only going 45 miles an hour. If it had 200 plus horsepower, like a lot of you guys have been asking for a long time, yes, that's great, but for me, I don't need it. I don't need turbocharged torque. I don't need 250 horsepower. It would be nice if Mazda maybe offered that as an option. It's totally unnecessary for me and where I live. I'm mainly beach cruising, and I can get that fun out of this 181 horsepower engine. I'm just lugging in 6th gear and it loves it. I can get 40 miles per gallon in this, by the way. I've done it before. Oh, we get a little sprinkler action. Whew. Got a little wet there, guys. Maybe in more ways than I can't. Might have to cut that. But this vehicle is a pure pleasure machine. Another thing, these buttons are new down here. So now you have radar cruise control, I believe, on this model. So the buttons are a little bit different than what I remember down here. But honestly, it just feels like the same old car. The biggest detail is the new screen, and I can actually use it while I'm driving instead of awkwardly reaching for this rotary dial and then fumbling through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It's absolutely perfect now. That breath of fresh air, the sound of nature, the palm trees around you. And Mazda is one of the few cars that can do it for such a low price. This MX-5, it now comes in the base model for 2024 just a hair over $30,000. Any Miata at any price, in my opinion, is worth it. The Club is a second trim up. To me, that is the best buy out of them all, more than likely. I used to recommend the RF model. I don't do that anymore. The RF, it's just more cumbersome, more things to break, less trunk space, less visibility, and this just gives me more of that sense of freedom that I want and enjoy so much in the Miata. So this to me feels more perfect for this environment down here. Maybe I was up in the Midwest or something and I wanted to daily this even in the winter. Maybe I'd pick the hardtop and be a little bit more removed from the elements, but yeah, soft top's the way to go. The clutch engagement on this is right after you back off of the bottom of the clutch, so it bites really early. Other than that, it feels like any other Miata I've ever driven, and that's a good thing. This is the perfect formula. No one's been able to replicate it for whatever reason. I have a tiny car. I'm gonna sneak through here. Oh, this is so good. I have found this a little bit harder for whatever reason. Don't know if it's a 2024 model thing or maybe I'm just getting rusty, but the downshifts on this are a lot harder for me to rev match. Maybe it's because I haven't spent a lot of time in this car. Unfortunately, I've been traveling for press events, but yeah, the rev matching here, as I go, there's third, it's just not as smooth. It's hard for me to find the right blip of the throttle to get this thing to be happy with the rev matching downshifts. And that's something I think would make this vehicle a little bit better. You can call me lazy or not a purist, whatever, I don't care. Auto rev matching makes me happier and it's less work for me. And if you don't like it, you can always disable it, but Mazda doesn't even give you that option here. I owned a 91 NA Miata and this feels just like that vehicle. It honestly feels just as lightweight, just as fun to drive. Now that was a 5-speed, this being the 6-speed, it's a little bit better for highway fuel economy. That had a little 1.6 liter back in the day. I want to say around 117 horsepower. This one's a lot faster. Is it more fun? It's just slightly more fun. So who is this car for in 2024? Well, it's for enthusiasts. It's for people who enjoy top-down living, and that's me, especially with where I live. It's for people who want a oneness with the car. I drove the GR Corolla recently, another manual transmission car. And the GR Corolla is fantastic, but I don't have like as much intimacy with that car as I do with this car. Maybe it's because this is just so small. Like I said, it feels like a glove, and that's my camera hitting the mirror. That's what you guys are hearing there. So I apologize for that. But yeah, like there are very few cars that I feel like I'm absolutely one with. And the smaller the better, right? That's why like I recommend motorcycling, as I enjoy the the flowers and the dragonflies next to me. But that's why I recommend motorcycling for car enthusiasts, because it's a little bit easier to be intimate with the machine. And nowadays, with everything being so automated, this thing feels just like it's much more smooth than my Grom, but the Grom and this give me the same sort of like grinning, like ear to ear sort of sensation. The inputs are immediate, besides the downshifts, but that could be me just screwing things up now with this 2024 model. But other than that, like, it just feels, everything about it just feels so perfect to me. And I can fly through the gears in town, and I'm not going like super fast or anything. So you can actually have fun with this excellent gearbox like my Honda Grom. We have a nice IS250C. You don't see too many of those. Convertibles. The C obviously denotes a convertible. You see quite a few IS350Cs down here. Now the IS250C was actually the last Lexus to have a manual transmission, as you hear the jackhammer going off. This work site right here, they tore down a historic golf club and beach club called Naples Beach Club and Golf Resort. I think that's all it was called. They tore that down, of course, because money talks, and the Four Seasons is being put up there. And what used to be a affordable beach hotels and an affordable beach bar, nah, not anymore. Oh man, capitalism. Every time I drive a Miata, I want to buy one. Having 5 kids, it's definitely not the most logical choice to take up a car space in the driveway with this vehicle. And I'd rather, at this point in my life, I'd rather spend it on acquiring motorcycles. As stupid as that sounds, it's just where I'm at right now. But who knows, maybe a couple years from now I'll want to give up the motorcycles and drive the Miata. To me, they're almost the same amount of fun. I can just buy more motorcycles for the money than I can with a Miata, but that doesn't make it any less fun. This vehicle is the most fun you can have on 4 wheels for the money. There's no other car that comes close. $30,000. Now we got the new updates, so it's a little bit more pleasing from a tech aspect. There's nothing bad for me to say about the MX-5. And like I said, the rev matching is probably due to my fault, not due to the car's fault. And maybe I could have, I need to spend a little bit more time getting the right amount of throttle depression between the downshifts, but whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Mazda, thank you so much for sending this to me. This car has like no miles on it. There hasn't been that many reviewers yet to get their hands on the new ND3 Miata. I think it's been out in Japan a little bit earlier than here in the United States, but long live the Miata. Mazda, keep it around as long as you can, just like this. This is honestly the perfect one at this point. If you want to add auto rev matching, I'd be happy about that, but no car is perfect, and that would make this car perfect, other than like the lack of space. If you're just too tall for this vehicle, you know what that's already about. I'm right on the precipice at 6'1". I have long legs. Luckily I have a short torso, so my head's not like sticking out the top of here. But yes, Mazda, keep this gem around as long as possible with little to no changes. I don't want a turbo. I don't want electrification. That will take away a lot of the joy of this vehicle. And what else do I don't want? I don't want the discontinuation of the manual. A little wheel spin shifting into second. Oh, just life doesn't get any better than this. Here we go. We're gonna try to downshift here. See, that one was too much throttle, but whatever. It's hard to tell on YouTube anyways how bad I'm messing up the downshifts. But let's take you through historic downtown Naples. I don't want to go too fast. This is like a school zone, so I can rein it in. It's easy to rein it in here on the MX-5. It's not fast to begin with. 0 to 60, if you're, I think I've been able to get under 6 seconds. I don't know, it's just whatever. It's not that enjoyable to me to do 0 to 60s in a Miata. All right guys, I'm going to shut it down there and be quiet and just kind of take you through historic 5th Ave with a little bit of ending B-roll here.